There we go. So welcome back, everyone, for another fun cooking class. We have a nice little pork dish glaze with some pineapple in that. Dessert, which is one of my favorite, cream cheese stuffed banana bread French toast. Yeah, and a few little twists and little things we'll show you, and we'll have a fun time doing some cooking.
All right, we'll give it a few minutes, then we will get going.
Yep. Perfect.
So welcome everybody on behalf of the Community Connections team. We're here in Tempsford in my kitchen. Looking forward to another great family cooking night ahead. We've got lots of helpers for our chef tonight, so he will stay on track. We'll make sure of that, won't we, girls? Right?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So I will be looking after filming tonight. So you'll want to maybe try to pin my screen onto yours. And that way you'll keep me in focus at the front of your screen. We'll also have a screen going towards the stove so you can see the action happening there as well. So stay tuned for both of those. And yeah, we'll get going in just a few minutes. So hold on tight.
Do you have a grater? I might
Yes.
get two of them. I only brought one, but I'm going to get both of the little ones to do some grating.
I have one of these ones, or I have a. You want somebody just want to hold this so that they're not staring at my floor for a moment?
Oh, I can see it. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. Take the right off the blender. We're gonna We're gonna go gentle and what are you hiding over there for? Come over here. Come on. Come on.
Violet's being camera shy.
Lead. Emma will lead the way. She is not shy.
Maybe a little.
Oh, okay, maybe a little bit sometimes.
I think I turned the sound up on there.
I won't embarrass you.
Yeah, you will.
Not too much.
You
No.
always do.
No, please. Please. When was the last time I embarrassed you?
Last time I saw you.
10 minutes ago.
I'm gonna have a nice, easy job for you girls. Just do some grating of cheese.
You can do that.
So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
keep
gonna
your
wait till
fingers
we're
away.
ready to go, though.
Yeah, ready.
Who feels comfortable with the big grater? Who feels comfortable with the little grater?
I'm probably
Okay.
All right, team, I think we will get going here. It's about 5:05. I'm sure there'll be others joining us as we carry on, but we've got some on the video there. So what you'll need to do with that one is just aim towards the stove once we need it. All right, here we go. Welcome to Chef Sean, and thank you so much for being here again today. We've got our two helpers ready to be his little slaves in the kitchen here, and we are going to make a delicious meal. So take it away.
All right. So is everyone all ready to rock and roll? We'll get some thumbs up. I guess you can kind of see. So yes, my two little helpers here. we have Emma and Violet who are going to start things off. So actually, I'm going to start things off. First, if everyone can set their oven to 450 degrees, that would be lovely. We'll give you a minute to do that. We got some ovens going.
That's good.
Yeah.
So then, I'm just going to slide. It's all down. All have a little wiggle room.
Get your knives organized. You can see he's got all the food laid out here.
Oh, we got our mise en place all ready to go, so it's handy to grab. Okay, so the girls here are going to start. What we're going to do is start with the potato dish. So it's kind of like scalloped potatoes, a little bit creamier, a little bit cheesier, a whack of vegetables that we can hide in there. I'm going to add a few extra things that you guys didn't see. It's just a basic dish that potato dish that you can add a lot of vegetables to. If you have children, you can hide them in there. Obviously, they're going to see them, so they'll know it's in there. But it's a nice, easy way to hide some nutrition in there and get lots of vegetables for your meal. So the girls are just going to start grating our cheese. we are going with a Parmesan and a raclette cheese. Raclette will add a nice gooiness to it. It's basically any of your favorite cheese. If you want cheddar cheeses, you want soft cheeses, you can use brie in there. We're gonna actually throw in a little bit of ricotta just because it's a dish that whatever you have in your refrigerator, you can add to it. So we had some leftover spinach from the other night. We're gonna incorporate that in there. If you have carrot, you can shred some carrot in there. You can even add some beets and stuff. It's just a nice dish that you can add a lot of vegetables to and burn up different produce out of your fridge so it doesn't go bad. So the girls are gonna start grating some cheeses. You might want to, you can hold it like this. You do it that
Oh,
way.
yes.
Oh, no, we'll do it that way. We gotta go with the grate.
No.
Mhm.
Lots of folks
I
would be so
can't
good
grate
about
Yep,
cheese.
Yep, I'm gonna show you. So we're actually gonna cut this down a little bit smaller for you.
Emma's having lots of good luck there. She's doing a great job.
Fingers back, right?
We'll get you going this one. So all you have to do is just downward motions. Just like that. So you just kind of hold the top, just keep pushing it down and just keep your little fingies back because we don't want to grate them.
Then you can't play the
Yep.
piano. That's a good way
Yeah.
of practicing, by the way.
Or it'll toughen up the fingertips. Yep, we're gonna make it some beautiful cheesy. You put a little effort in there, hold her in there, just give her a good little. There you go.
Elbow
Yep,
Building those
center going there.
muscles, building muscles.
Yeah.
Alright. As they're grating the cheese,
Anybody admit watching?
we're gonna slice up some, we're gonna grab our white potatoes. We're gonna start with them. If you have a mandolin, I didn't bring it because a lot of people are afraid of a mandolin. Probably don't own one. So we're just gonna go old school, just knife technique. What we're gonna do is take a nice white potato. We're just going to take just, we'll say 1/8 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch slice. Well, as always, we want our fingers back, thumb behind our fingers so we don't cut those off. Just in a nice downward motion, we're just gonna slice some taters up. Once it gets to this stage, I like to hold it like this. If they're a little thicker, it just takes a little bit longer to cook. So it's not a big deal, but we'll just add these to our
Gotta go
bowl.
with this hand. Gotta go back. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There.
How
So
you
you just
guys
get
make
long
out?
on the one end, so you turn it.
Oh yeah, we're doing good over here.
Mhm.
So we're just gonna do a few potatoes, depending on how many people you're feeding.
Yeah, what do you recommend per, let's say there's 4 people, how many potatoes would you do?
So children, I do a half potato
Mhm.
per child. Adult, I do a full potato. Just give a rough idea of judge how many ingredients you kind of need.
Perfect.
We are adding some zucchini in that, which will, there's not a lot of volume to it. When you cook it down, it actually shrinks
Right.
down a little bit. So the potato is your biggest starch that you need
your
to,
bulk.
yeah, yep, your bulk, yeah.
Turn it again. No, not that.
yeah.
Just turn the cheese. Right. Turn the cheese.
And you can mix up
There you go.
you go a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner. So the thinner ones will actually cook down and kind of
Like
almost
that.
disintegrate
Mhm.
when
Like that,
incorporated
so
into
you
the
get the whole
sauce.
down.
Mm.
There you go. Otherwise, you'll just keep getting really long. too.
How we making out over there, girls? Pretty good. Are we cheese grating experts yet?
No.
One time I did fondue for, how many did we do? 30 some odd people?
Yeah.
30 or 40 people, and my food processor broke that automatically grated it, and I had to hand grate quite a few kilos of cheese. I'm an expert now. Well, we'll look into that. I'll be the surprise after.
Yep, keep going.
How you make, we're gonna clear yours out, Violet, just because you have a different style. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's lots of cheese. So the cheese is heading into the bowl here
Yep.
with the potatoes.
Just tossing that in there. So the type of grater Violet's using just needs to be just cleaned out every so often. Emma has one that just holds it in there, and she's using a different cheese. She's using the Parmesan that actually will be a finer grate to it.
Right.
Yeah, so we just have a couple potatoes in there right now. We have our cheese in there. Now we're gonna take our zucchini.
No, it's
You getting tired already?
my ends.
Oh,
I'm fine.
okay. It's a little bit of pain, and the reward is you get to eat it after.
And you need to strengthen your arms to hold a baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna actually cut your zucchini a little bit thicker than the potato, because it will break down. So we're gonna go about 1/4 of an inch thick.
Same technique with the zucchini, it looks like.
Yep, fingers back. We're just doing, they're called rondelles, so we're just cutting circles. If you do have children who don't like certain vegetables that you want to add there, you'll cut them thinner. So
Hide
the
them.
thinner you cut them, the more they'll break down, and the less chance that the children will be able to actually find them in there.
Fine.
Okay, so he's adding the zucchini into the bowl with
Into
the
bowl. Everyone's going into the bowl.
potatoes and the cheese, one kind of cheese anyway.
Yeah. If you want, you can we'll give it a bigger block.
Yay.
We'll get your muscles getting better, bigger there. Oh yeah.
I think mine are.
Oh yeah. Both your muscles are getting good. All right, we're just gonna cut another zucchini.
I didn't cut myself yet.
That's good. So let's go slow and steady so we don't.
And again, just to reiterate, you can use any kind of cheese for this, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much?
on the recipe was 3 of your favorite cheeses.
Yeah, perfect.
So tonight we're doing the raclette cheese, the Parmesan cheese. We had some leftover ricotta from a lasagna Elise made the other night. We're gonna incorporate that in there. We have the leftover spinach. It's a potato dish that you can add a lot of vegetables to, like I was saying, and hide them in there, and they all balance out as long as you don't get some weird vegetables. in
Right.
there.
Right.
Keep dropping zucchini.
And I do have a compost bucket, so we'll fill her up later.
Let's see how Emma made out here. Oh, you can see the Parmesan's actually quite smaller. Violet had a big pile in hers.
It's hard a little like.
Yeah, it's a drier cheese. And
Okay. no, you got lots. You got lots.
okay.
All right.
So we have the zucchini. We have yeah. Keep grating. away.
Potato, zucchini, a couple kinds of
Yep.
cheese so
So
far.
we're just gonna leave that in there for a second. Oh, I think you're good to go there, Violet. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
She has a softer cheese, so
And she means business.
oh yeah.
I agree.
She is,
Not a race.
she is now a professional cheese
It's
grater.
always a
I'm
race.
So we're just gonna add the cheese into the bowl with the potatoes, the zucchinis. That's all we have in there right now. So we're gonna take a look at yours.
I just started.
Yeah, that'll be good. The more, if you love cheese, which we do, we've got it quite a bit. You can make it cheese. Goodness no. You can just add more cheese if you want it cheesier.
Perfect.
We're pretty good. We're about 8 ounces maybe. Cheese
Okay.
lady.
Sure.
Okay.
Say hi, Annalise.
Annalise is taking a breather because we have little Pike coming within 2 weeks. So she's a little tired and we have to rest her feet. So she is cheering us on from the sidelines this time.
Yep. And if you do need cheese, the best place to get it, Ingersoll Wine and Cheese Shop in
Yes.
Lee's store.
All the good cheeses.
There are amazing cheeses there.
We're just adding the leftover ricotta into it.
All right.
How's everyone making out? Am I going too quick, too slow? Tendency to go too quick, so
No, I think everybody's good.
everyone's doing good?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So we have our zucchini, our cheese is in there right now, our potatoes in there. We're just gonna give a nice little toss around. Just kind of loosely mix it up. And then,
All right.
so we have our cream. We're gonna start with about a 1/2 cup.
And for those who want to use a measuring cup,
Yep,
free.
feel free. Yep. As we've discussed in previous cooking classes, I've always been trained on cooking is a feel and add. So why I said roughly a half cup, we might add a little bit more to it. The more cheese you add, the more cream you have to add.
Right.
And we'll work our way around there.
And just to show everybody, this is the cream that Sean used there. So it is a
Heavy
whipping cream.
35%, yeah.
So just in case you didn't catch that.
So now we have some nice garlic that a friend grew last year.
Homegrown. Delicious.
So garlic has different flavors. This variety, not flavors, it all tastes like garlic, but different potency. So this garlic that my friend Colin grows is very potent. So I'm going to use 1 clove, which, as you can see, is quite a bit. We love garlic too, so I don't mind adding the whole thing. So it all depends. If you're using smaller cloves, then you'll want 2 or 3. If you don't like garlic that much, we'll use a little bit less. And once again, it all comes back to your taste and your feel and everything. So I'm not sure if there's any new people or the people who've watched before how we're going to do our garlic. So we have it there. First, I just took the clove, smashed it down. Then we're just going to give it just a rough chop. As always, fingers back, thumb behind the fingers. We don't want any digits in the food. So then we have our garlic there. We're going to do a little bit of olive oil. About a teaspoon in there. Then a little bit of coarse salt. There we go.
Okay.
So just a little refresher, the olive oil, we're going to do a minced garlic. The olive oil just kind of gives the lubrication. The salt is the coarseness that actually minces helps mince the garlic. So our knife is on a 15-degree angle. We're just going to push down, push away. We're just going to keep rubbing motion. You can kind of hear that garlic, or that salt and garlic rubbing together. So by doing this, it's going to incorporate nicer into the potatoes and everything. So you won't actually have chunks and you'll have that one bite where it's potently garlicky. This will actually blend a little bit smoother. The more we go over this, the finer it'll get. We're already down to we're chunky paste right now. We'll do it once more.
Very cool.
We'll just give it a rundown.
Sean,
There we
I
have
missed
nice-
how much cream you put in.
How much cream? We
Yes.
started with about a half cup.
Thank you.
So depending on how many people you're cooking for, how many potatoes you've used, I'm going to show you a consistency. So I started with a half cup. We're going to add all of our ingredients, and then I'm going to probably hit it with a little bit more. We're going to see get our right consistency. So there's not a real 1 cup does this. The 4 potatoes. Your 4 potatoes might be smaller, might be bigger. So we're just going to feel it out as the dish goes. So we now have our minced garlic. We'll just add that in there.
All right. It's coming together.
Next up, we will slice some red onion.
Onions are another one that's always interesting to learn how to chop.
Yes, I think we went over last time. We might have went over a few
Yeah.
different ways. We'll do a little refresher again. So we're just going to peel the outside skin off. Waste not, want not. So we don't want to throw away too much.
Yeah, that outside layer is so thin, and then sometimes I
Yeah.
know it's easy to grab the whole first inside layer of the onion too.
Well, yeah, and then you lose that 1/4 inch almost.
That's
You just
right.
have to find that fine little paper line, and
Yep.
it should come off. Yeah, so we are just going to do a julienne style. So we'll do a little refresher. If we were to cut the onion, so your core and top are this way.
Mhm.
This way. So we've cut it in half. if we were to cut it along with, how am I gonna say, so top and core is this way. If we were to cut against it, the onion will actually break down more. It'll fall apart more. If we want to actually keep the structure of the onion, we're gonna flip it and cut it with the grain. We're just do the same technique, thumb behind, fingers back, knuckles up. We're just gonna do a nice little rocking motion. Once we get about halfway, we're gonna flip the onion over, and we're just gonna come back. We're doing about a 1/8 of an inch thick, 1/16 of an inch. We don't want too big of a chunk, or else our whole potato dish is going to taste like onion. So we kind of want it to melt away. And we'll add that to the potato dishes.
All right. You said you had oven preheated or no?
Yeah, everyone hopefully has their oven preheated.
Ours isn't on, so.
Oh, I started it.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, I had it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to stir the potato dish. We're gonna use one whole onion because we have quite a bit of potato in there. So this is a potato dish. If you have a large group coming over, you can do it the day before, have it all in your casserole dish, all ready to go in the fridge, pull it out about half hour, 45 minutes before, bring it up to room temperature. And
So I mean, there now, lit.
Okay.
There we go.
bring it up to room temperature and then fire it in the oven at 450. So you'll be good to go.
She's mixing her up there, getting those onions apart and everything.
So you want to get right to the bottom, get all that goodness.
So for those who maybe haven't are just joining us, maybe you're jumping in late, but they've got sliced potatoes, sliced zucchini, some sliced onion, 3 kinds of cheese, and some cream, or 2 kinds of cheese so far, and
Yep, 2 kinds
heavy
of cheese
cream and our garlic. Yeah, yeah.
We want to make sure it's all mixed together evenly. And then, like I was saying earlier, we had a little bit of leftover spinach from lasagna that was made the other night. It's going to go in. So how I was saying about, I start with a half cup of cream. You can barely even notice it in there. Is it not fire?
Yeah, it did. Like you can feel there's heat in there.
Yeah. All right. Yep. So I just had a little bit of cream in there, or spinach in there that we just had leftover. Like I was saying before, it's just kind of a nice leftover dish. You can burn up some vegetables and stuff like that. Add the half cup of cream. Now I've seen the amount of cheese we've added to it, amount of ingredients we've added. It's quite dry. We want it a little bit on the saucier side. So we're gonna add about another cup in there. Now we're just gonna keep stirring.
Right to the bottom, Emma.
Yeah, we gotta get the bottom.
Use your elbows.
As maybe this one will be a little bit. That's right.
Oh, from the onions.
So Emma has said that the onions are making our eyes water. The older the onion you have, the more your eyes will water. These onions I got from a friend, so they're from last year's harvest. So they will be rather potent, and she will have a few tears, which isn't unnormal. Yeah, so we have our spinach in there, our onions in there, our potatoes in there, our zucchini in there, our garlic, we got some cream, our cheeses. I'm gonna take about, well, definitely some butter. We're gonna take about 4 tablespoons of butter. It's just been at room
You can get
temperature.
pictures, that's great. I'll man this.
So we're just gonna incorporate that in.
Mm.
While we do that, Violet is gonna help us out. And she is going to,
But do you think it's good or should I put it in?
oh, keep mixing,
There.
keep mixing, don't give it up yet.
I'm not doing it. It's out.
Violet is going to
Color.
just rub the butter all over the pan. The
Mm.
edges, the bottom.
Especially the corners.
Now, if you don't have a pan like this, what other options are good
So I
for
just brought this
pans?
one just handy. Your casserole dish, you can use a cast iron pan, any casserole style dish will work. Any baked dish,
Perfect.
ceramic, whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah, anything you do your normal lasagnas into that. So what we're going to do is when we bake it, the edges are going to get a little bit crispy. The center is going to be gooey, cheesy. We're going to cover the top with a little bit of Parmesan so it gets a little baked on there.
Perfect.
So there we have that. Now we're going to add a little bit of thyme. About
50 seconds?
we're going to add about a heavy tablespoon.
Okay.
Teaspoon, I mean, heavy teaspoon.
Now, are there others? Could you add different things if you like different flavors?
So you can add dried dill to it. I stick with the dry herbs when baking stuff like this, just texture wise. So yeah, thyme. You get a little bit of oregano, basil. I'm gonna top it with a little bit of smoked paprika,
Okay.
just to finish it off.
Paprika, what's that?
Paprika?
Oh, paprika. They said paprika.
No, paprika. Sorry. Yeah, smoked paprika. I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of that.
Yep.
Just add a little smokiness to the dish. You can add dried dill to it, a little coriander seed. Like this dish is it's a simple dish so that you can elevate flavors to your area how you like. That's where
Cool.
I'm saying you can add more vegetables to it, your favorite vegetables and stuff like that. If you do add like beets to it, it is going to be a purple dish at the end of it.
Mhm.
You can add peppers to it if you have gardens and stuff like that. You have abundance of peppers. You can do green peppers, red peppers. You can add jalapenos to it if you like it hot. It's a very good base to start to elevate
Awesome.
to your flavor avenue kind of thing.
Love it. All right. How are the girls doing? Oh, Emma's busy. She's got that mix going pretty well.
Oh, we're mixing that salad.
Violet's getting the pan
No,
coated
no,
with the
no, no.
butter. Things are going along here pretty smoothly.
We're gonna do a heavy tablespoon of basil.
Mm-hmm. Keep mixing, girl.
More things coming.
More and more things are coming.
Probably gonna mix me. I don't know. More butter. I don't know.
Yep, that's beautiful. We
All
can
right,
leave a
good.
little-
Pan's all covered.
Yeah, we can leave the little bits in there.
It's
Go to,
not
yep, go
covered
to
yet.
smelt down. Oh, we got a little corner over here.
And a one here.
Okay, you keep working on all the shine. We want the whole pan not to be shiny.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
That is why you're a professional.
Oh, yes.
Soon to be, right?
All
right, so
A
Sean-
few times in the past, haven't we? Yeah.
I have 3 times.
Yep, yep, you have cooked too. So we're about 1.5 cups of cream in. We're going to add about another cup now.
Okay.
More.
So that's why we're just going on consistency. It's a hard recipe to say it needs 1 cup. It needs 2 cups. If you like a drier, so growing up, my mom used to make scalloped potatoes were on the creamier side. They have the crusty milk bubble on the top, a lot more juice to it. I've had other people have made scalloped potatoes that drier, closer to a pave style. I like it on the juicier side, so that's why I'm just adding a little extra cream to it. It's all in your personal preference. Lean towards, if you're not sure on cooking times, lean to a little extra moisture because then it won't
Right.
dry out.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna hop in here just for 1 second.
All
You're doing
right.
great, yeah.
My hand hurts.
So back to the last time we were here cooking, the spinning technique, you can kind of toss it, spin it, toss it, spin it. Get into the center. We want to get all that goodness all the way around.
Looking pretty good, isn't it, girls?
So I guess I kind of like that consistency because we do have a little bit of juice in the bottom there.
Mhm.
So it might look a little dry on the top. I think we're mixed in pretty good. We are going to season it with a little salt and pepper. I always have a few tricks. So I brought I brought a little fancy salt. We have some truffle salt. Truffle is basically a mushroom in a way, pungent flavor. So we actually have some truffle salt. We're gonna add a little bit of that.
Mm.
Mix it in.
Yep, keep mixing there. Em. How you making it over there, Violet? You got it all glazing up nicely.
I'm just covering some.
Right, focus on your mixing. If you do like to switch it up, I think you're almost done over there. And then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of fresh cracked pepper.
Nice.
That's perfect. So Violet, well, you just lick your fingers. So Violet has our pan all nicely glazed with the butter. That's gonna help so it doesn't stick to our pan. For some reason, if you're out of butter, which would be weird because butter is great on everything, you can use parchment paper, put it in there, and you pull the whole thing out. It'll work just as nice. I like the butter because it browns in there, adds another flavor element, helps with the crispy, getting it the edges crispy and everything. All right, you good over there, Em? Yeah. I'm gonna take this from you, Em. Excellent job. How's everyone making out? Am I going too quick, talking too quick, moving too quick? Or
I
too
think
slow?
they're on track. It
We're
looks
on
pretty
track?
good here. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're just going to incorporate.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this part. Thank you, though.
It looks
I have to
fine.
do a little bit of the cooking.
Yeah, most of it.
I appreciate the help.
So we're scooping the whole, I guess about 2/3
Well,
of
we're
it.
gonna go a little bit more. So what I'm doing is I just got a little bit of the mixture in there. I'm just kind of patting it down because you want to work it to your edges. So then we're gonna add a little bit more.
Ginger and that red onion make a nice color.
Oh, yeah. Going to add the rest of it.
Beauty.
Now, once again, we're just going to make a bit of a mess, so we're just going to clean up slightly. So we're just we want it as even as possible. So we're just I'm just pushing all the potatoes and goodness into the edges. We want it nice and even so it cooks evenly. If we have a big mound in the middle, we're gonna have cooked on the outside, raw in the center.
Okay. Hey, Sean,
Yes,
where do you buy the truffle salt?
truffle salt?
Yeah.
Do you sell it still? There is still some available at the cheese shop in Ingersoll.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I may put little ideas in her head to order certain things that I kind of like, which is kind of
Perfect.
rather handy. So,
Perfect. Great.
yeah. There we go. As we push it down, you can kind of see a little bit of the sauce working its way to the top. So you can kind of keep massaging it in there a little bit. So we're gonna get our cheese grating girls back going here.
Hey.
So, oh goodness, always more cheese.
Yes.
You might notice we use a lot of cheese.
Can I try
We
this
do
stuff?
love our cheese.
Can I go the other one?
Okay, we're gonna switch up. So you're gonna come over here, Violet. You're gonna do the Parmesan. We're gonna switch out.
So you're using the same 2 kinds of
Same
cheese.
2 kinds of cheeses.
Okay. The other grater you set somewhere.
Use that one there. Kind of just work your way down like that.
Watch your fingers out.
Yeah.
So on
And
the side.
then you feel, yeah. So if we go this way, yeah, you can hold it up high, and then you can just push that way, or you can go back and forth like that. Okay, sorry. Forgot we have a professional now.
Use the long side.
Yeah.
Of the cheese. No, of the cheese.
Jeez.
Oh,
Just cut your fingers.
We
I
just go
know.
slow.
Haha, great. It's not great.
It's not great. And you
Sorry,
get
I
the
like
line
puns
going
are my
this side
thing.
too.
I think I'm
Yep, you can use, yep, just keep flipping around, whatever side is comfortable for you.
All right, so the girls are busy with their cheese. Sean's bringing over some of that paprika.
I'm just bringing a little smoked paprika. We're just gonna do a little dusting on top.
Mm. That's a really nice color to it now.
Oh, yeah.
Very pretty.
Sell it with the eyes first. Lots of colors.
Good one already. So much on here. I like this one.
It's not a race. First one that loses a finger in the grater, it loses.
So watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
Me neither.
All right, so the girls are doing well there.
Pass the test there, chef.
Not bad.
All right.
A little piece of cheese. Okay, let's. I'm just gonna. Parmesan, or two kinds of cheeses what we're using, like I said earlier. One's quite gooey, which is the raclette. Parmesan is a little bit drier, so which will help. The Parmesan, we're gonna mix them together. It'll help give it crust, a cheese crust on the top. Hey, make it there. We're just going to. Just want to incorporate the two cheeses. So they're mixed in together nicely. There you go. So we're about a 2-to-1 ratio.
We do it again.
But you can also, like, if you're using cheddars or anything, it'll still be nice. Your cheeses, the temperature we're going into, they'll blister up. Like, you want a little bit of crust on the top. So that's why it doesn't have to be spot on what we're using. So we're off a little bit right at the top. If you're a little low, that's not going to hurt. Cooking times will just differentiate a little bit.
And if you're lower, you won't get cheese in the stove.
Eh?
If you're lower, you won't get cheese bubbling.
Yeah.
in the stove.
That's true. My mom would put it on a cookie sheet just
Yeah.
to prevent that from
Yeah.
happening. Probably once burned,
Yeah.
twice shy.
Yeah.
So we're just going to make sure our cheese is all kind of mixed around nicely and or level on top, I guess, not mixed around. I'm just going to give a gentle pat and just tuck everything in there nicely.
Looking good.
So where's everyone at? We see some people in here?
Yeah, I think Heather looks like she's rolling along.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
So everyone's
Everyone's
ready to go in the oven then?
I see your cheese coming out. Yeah.
I just have my frying pans in here keeping warm. So we are going to go middle rack, 450 degrees. Right in there. And we'll go for about 30 minutes to start. So we can test it after that.
You have time, put the timer on or you want to, or?
No, it's 22, so.
All right.
Okay, we're just gonna do a quick little wipe down.
All right, so we've got the potatoes in the oven. We're on a 30 minutes. If you want to set your timer, you're welcome to do so. We just noted the time, so we're gonna pay
Yep.
attention to that. And just tidying up a little bit here to start the next phase. What's next, Sean? What are we
So I
working on
think,
next?
what did everyone go with pork chops? Do we have thin pork chops? Do we have thick pork chops? I went with a thicker pork chop. I went with a bone-in loin chop with a little bit of rib on it. If you want with thinner ones, we're gonna start this cooking times differently.
Okay.
They do look like a big thick chop, but if we were to cut them in half, they'd actually only be 6 inches long kind of thing. I like to cook the 2 bone it'll keep juicier in the center. It won't be dry and sawdust like that a lot of us have had over the years. So we're gonna start with our chops right now.
So if they are thinner, you'll give them some kind of advice as we go along
if they're
here.
thinner, hold off on this step. I just need to get our big ones going.
Perfect.
We're gonna preheat our pan. So we'll go over these steps if you have a thinner chop again. What I'm going to do is bring my pan up to a smoking temp, it's called. There's absolutely no oil in there, no butter in there. I'm gonna heat the pan until it smokes. Then I'm gonna add the olive oil to it, and then I'm going to add the meat to it. We want that smoking temperature because when we add the meat, it brings the temperature of the pan down, and we want a beautiful, nice crust on the outside of our pork chops. And then that caramelization of the meat will go well with the sauce that we're going to do with it. So we're gonna wait a minute for that to start smoking.
Can you move the other pan? 'Cause they're blocking the view.
So here we have our nice big thick wing.
Just gonna move those so they're out of the way from the camera if we can. We're just making a little space so we can see the action on the stove a little better. Well, come and look and you can see. I don't know if you can maybe move it up a bit.
Okay, so now we're going to season our meat. Like I said, if you're doing thinner pork chops, hold off on the cooking because we'll wait a little bit longer. We have 30 minutes, roughly 30, 40 minutes before our potatoes cook, so we have a little wiggle room. We'll always season our meat. So it's going to look like a lot of salt on there. It's something that took a lot for me to get over when my sous chef was showing me. As we cook our meat, we turn it, we flip it. You're going to lose a lot of the salt out. So it does look like a lot along with the pepper, but it falls off and leaves you with the perfect amount of seasoning at the very end. And with the pepper, we have some nice ground pepper. I'm just going to add that.
It's got a nice healthy amount.
Yep, we're just gonna give it a nice little rub on there so it kind of sticks. We'll flip them over. You can take your sides, rub it around the pepper that fell off. A little bit of rope there.
And then just do the other side
Season
similar.
the other side. You want to season all the meat nicely. So it's seasoning too. So our meat is at room temperature. If you don't have your meat out yet, pull it up to room temperature. Just helps with cooking wise consistency. And the salt will actually help with your caramelization on your meat, help you build a crust. It almost does a little mini, if you know brining, which is a water salt brine that we could have taken, which I actually should bring up. We could have taken this pork chop to another level and we could have brined it. So we take a salt water solution, 2 tablespoons of salt to about 1 liter of water, let it soak in it overnight, and it just makes it juice, makes your pork chop juicier. It's just one more technique you can do. So there we have our pork chop all rubbed. Our pan. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on there, but it's just slightly smoking right now.
Oh yeah, I can see it wafting up a bit there.
So now that it's smoking, we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're going to, now you can really see it smoking.
Looks good.
So we're going to add our pork chop. You want to hear that sizzle going on there right now. If you don't hear the sizzle, your pan wasn't hot enough. You're actually going to sweat the meat and release the juices out of the meat without searing the meat. And we really want to have that sear in there.
Just check that door. Oops. Let me check that door. Yeah, just film it.
So we're just gonna give her just a little move around. I think we've discussed this in other meats. Some chefs say set your meat in the pan, leave it there, don't move it. I prefer pans have different heat areas, so I like to kind of move them around a little bit, kind of swirl them around. Then we'll just let them kind of sit there. That way we get a good coating of oil on the bottom. We'll get a good sear. We'll get that nice thick crust on there.
Mm.
We're just going to turn our heat down just medium high now.
Look at it sizzling away there. Woo! That's good. Mm-mm.
Okay, so we have our potatoes in the 450-degree oven. Yeah, some of us will have our pork chops on the go. If they're thinner, like I said, we'll go back over all this. So we'll ask everyone to make sure we're on the same page and everything. We're just going to take a peek at these.
Let's take a
So
look.
we're getting a little bit of crust on there.
Oh yeah.
And then into the oven, these are going to go. We'll check them in about 10 minutes.
Oh, look at those potatoes. They're already,
Oh yeah.
but the cheese is already starting to melt there nicely. All right, so now you've got the potato mixture in the middle of the oven, the
Yep.
meat at the bottom there.
Leave the bottom. So now we're just going to do a quick little cleanup here. Okay.
As chefs aren't supposed to, I feel like the cook should not have to clean, right? I mean, they should just get the.
Cleaning is
Yeah.
all we always. That's one thing we're trained. Always have to have a nice clean work area. Okay, so we can start now on. I pre-whip my cream cheese. Does everyone have their cream cheese out of the fridge? I probably should have mentioned that before. Do we have some thumbs up on our cream cheese level for the dessert?
I think we're good.
So it's all room temperature. Is that anyone pre-whip their cream cheese? I didn't. We can show how to whip. We will do a quick whip, I guess.
No, everybody's gonna be
whipping.
whipping.
You can use a KitchenAid, which is quite handy for cream cheese because it is a little bit thicker. We'll get ours out.
Ready to whip there, lady?
So as always, we're cooking in time-wise. So potatoes took the longest to cook. So that's why we started with the potatoes. They went into the oven. If you have, once again, if you have a large family gathering coming over or a small family gathering, you can do the potatoes ahead of time. You can actually pre-cook them ahead of time and then warm them back up when it's good to go. It'll take a lot less time. If they hold well, they reheat well. So that's not a problem.
All right, so you just dump it. You've whipped your.
Yeah, so I pre-whipped my cream cheese. So if everyone can get their cream cheese out, if you have a block of cream cheese, I recommend cutting it into cubes. Smaller, the easier. Not bad, eh?
It is cheese after all, right?
Cheese on cheese on cheese. All right, Emma, you can start whisking. So Emma's going to show everyone how to whisk. You're going to put a little bit more effort into it. Come on, get in there. And as she whisks, she's going to turn the bowl. You go in a back and forth motion like this. Turn the bowl. Go this way and just kind of keep quarter turning it back and forth. Then you can go around. I like the back and forth method. We're just going to keep doing that until you get a nice frothy consistency of it. It'll loosen up quite a bit. It'll be nice and thick.
Water on my tongue.
Are you sugar? Are you gonna melt?
She's going to melt.
That's what my dad used to say to me.
So next up, you'll want to add a little bit of sugar as you're whisking it together. If you're a sweet tooth, you can add to 1 block of cream cheese, 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons. If you don't want it as sugary, a little bit less. It's all on your personal preference. Oh, a little, no.
And remind us, where's this cream cheese going?
Pardon me?
Where's-
This is going in the banana bread French toast. This is the stuffing for it.
Mm.
A little effort in there. Come on, muscles.
You need Violet to take a turn?
Yeah, Violet, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, you got this.
Little
Come
teamwork.
on.
Yeah, come
Roll the
on.
sleeves up.
Roll the sleeves up. Well, between the two of you, we'll get it all
Do it like
whisked
you
up
need it.
there.
We'll find a hold it like.
Yep. So you want to hold it like this? Yep, there you go. You want to get both all the way across? Yep.
Nice. A lot of coordination. You're a piano player, so you should be good at this, or your hands can do all sorts of magic.
With everyone whisking away, at this stage, you can add some vanilla to it. About a teaspoon, I'd say. We are going to use, thought I'd mix it up. So we are going to use real vanilla bean. What's a bean shape? So we have real vanilla bean here.
Where do you get that, Sean?
I picked this up in an independent.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's low. You can
not,
get it.
yeah, it's not cheap. It's about, I think there's 2 beans in there for $10. Yeah, $5 a bean. Not cheap. It is just a nice, if you want to pull out the extra stuff kind of thing. So we're just going to take almost at near the end of the tip.
Mhm.
And we're not cutting straight through it. We're just cutting the first layer. What we'll have here, so inside is all of our vanilla bean. So we're not fully through. Yeah, you want Emma to take over, and you guys can just keep going back. All right, Emma, come on in.
Swap.
So as we have the bean, I'm just opening it up just slightly.
Mhm.
We're gonna hold the end, take the tip of our knife. We're just going to slide it on through there.
Okay,
And then
cool.
I'm just coming back the other way. So now there's not a lot in there, but that is a ton of flavor. And then we're basically all cleared out of the inside.
Neat.
So we're just going to watch yourself for 2 seconds.
It smells so good.
What's that?
This is the vanilla bean.
So you're either
Yeah.
putting a teaspoon
Teaspoon.
of vanilla extract,
Yeah, vanilla extract.
or you're gonna add the fresh vanilla bean. Get her mixed in.
Oh, like the
It's all over you.
how do you like it? Alright.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to keep the actual discarded pot, I guess, or it could be. I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to put it in about a little mason jar of vodka, and I'll let it sit in there for a few months, and we'll make our own vanilla extract. So you waste none of it. It is very expensive, so you want to use all as you can. So yeah, I'll put it in a little baby jar size. I'll chop it up in pieces, put it in a little baby jar size mason jar.
Yeah.
I'll soak it in some vodka. You can also add it to salt and make a vanilla salt, which is nice for finishing. If you're doing a lobster dish for a romantic dinner, you can finish your lobster with the vanilla salt. But it just uses the whole thing, so
Yeah.
you don't waste it.
I feel like you could put it in a mug of tea.
What about putting the pod in cream that can make an ice cream?
Yep, 100% too. Yeah. So yeah, Carla just brought up a good point too. If you're making ice cream, you can soak the vanilla pod in the ice cream, so then it'll extract even more flavor out of it too.
Cool.
But you guys have had an ice cream machine for a while.
Yeah.
Emma, Annalise, and I have just ventured into the homemade ice cream making world, and it is delightful.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
lost our freezing bowl to make.
Oh, it's in the
How do you lose the bowl?
All right, what's happening here?
In container.
So I'm just gonna take a peek
Whoa.
here. Our pork chops are going. Yep, that's perfect.
Wow, there's the potato dish, everybody, and you can see the pork chops are
Yep, let's just slide them
cooking
around.
away.
I'm just gonna flip my pork chops over to see now we have a nice crust going.
Mhm.
So we're going to flip those over, tuck them back in. We'll let the deliciousness keep cooking. So here, 1 second. I didn't like it, did it?
No.
Okay.
Really?
All right, so did I get some on you?
Just a bit.
Oh, you just gotta wipe that off and a little flavor saver.
Lick it. It'll be-
So our cream cheese is all whipped now, or vanilla bean. You can see all the little flecks of vanilla bean in there.
Mhm.
It's a warm, butterish kind of texture, I guess you would say. We're just going to put it back in the fridge just so it keeps, or if we leave it on the counter, it'll just melt down to a liquid.
Mhm.
So we're just going to keep it in the fridge here. Okay, so we have our pork chops going, we have our potatoes going, our cream cheese stuffing is in the refrigerator. Now we're going to make our egg batter, I guess you'd call it, for a French toast.
Okay.
So we have some nice banana bread. Would you two like to crack eggs?
Yeah, I love finding this so fun, right?
Okay.
So is it that banana bread? You can really use any kind of banana bread.
Yeah, yep. It's just generic. Yeah, you can use normal bread if you want.
Yeah.
The liquid mixture I'm going to use is good on any bread.
Mhm.
Banana bread just takes it and elevates it to a
Next
whole new-
level.
whole new
Zucchini
level.
bread.
Zucchini bread, yeah.
Raisin bread.
Egg breads, all those breads you can use with this blend.
All right, cool.
This blend I'm going to show is actually a gentleman who I trained out on the East Coast at the hotel. He's from France, and
Yep.
he showed me a little touch of adding orange juice to our French toast batter, which another element of flavor goes well with the breakfast idea and everything. So that's what we're going to do there. So
Awesome.
you each get an egg. Down there.
There's actually a composter bin on the white. It's the white one on the.
Yeah, put it in that lid there.
Sorry, I'm a composting crazy person.
There's maybe a piece of the shell in there.
That's okay.
It's not mine.
Oh, the end of the bus.
Oh.
Right in that.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll get her out. Don't worry.
So actually, Violet and I were talking earlier today about, can you tell? About, she got an eggshell in once cracking before. And I said, oh, did you use the shell technique to get it out? She said, no, I just used my finger, which sometimes it's hard to find it in there. So with the shell technique, if you do get one in there, let's say let's put a little bit in there.
You said you just leave a piece of the shell in.
Okay, just hold on, Emma.
Okay, Violet's.
So you can see there's a piece of shell in the batter there.
I did tell Violet earlier, which I can't lie now. I said, well, if it's a small piece, leave it in there. It's texture. So let's say your egg's in there. If you go, sometimes you go to pick it up, you can't grab it because it's all slimy. So you actually take your egg shell.
Oh, I never tried that before.
And you kind of pull it up to the edge of the bowl,
Neat.
and then your egg's out.
There you go. New
Your shell's
technique,
out.
new skill. So we've got 4 eggs so far in there.
Yep. So depending on how many going over here, then you get one more. Yep, you can crack that one in now. Oh.
Right.
Oh.
So step number 1 is crack the egg and get it into the bowl.
It fell.
Yeah.
There's paper towels behind you too, if that's easier.
It just fell. I can't control it.
Well, so we're gonna do. Emma brought up a good point. She said the egg just fell, which it does happen. So when cracking our eggs, oh, do you still have one? So,
Yeah, one more to go here.
So
We need to
we're gonna-
spare. So I can grab
we'll
you
keep
one.
our bowl here, but I was gonna show you, so you can do it. We're gonna crack it. Some people say crack it on an edge. We've gone over this before. Yeah, flat will smush it and not make a mess of your shell all over the place. So if you want to smash it down, and then instantly we go over top of the bowl, then we don't end up having egg on the floor.
That's a good technique.
Great. Yeah, I've never knew that technique myself. I always do it on the edge of a bowl. Or I use a
so it's
knife.
kind of, edge of the bowl is a kind of an old school way. Our grandmothers would have taught us that. But yeah, restaurants taught me, yeah, when you're cracking 60, 70 eggs, crack them flat. It doesn't indent the eggshell
Right.
into the egg. It just basically crushes the eggs, then you just pop it open, you're good to go.
Here we go. All right, so you're getting your hair in the bowl there, my dear. So you're doing 6 eggs and you're doing about how many pieces of
We're going to do probably, we'll do about 8 slices, roughly.
okay.
Well, would one of you like to whisk the eggs?
Okay, sure.
I'm just going to quickly check the pork chops. So we got some bubbling coming up on the edges of the so they're gonna be quite saucy. You gotta see them good on
yeah.
there. I like them saucy. Also allows for a little leniency. Yeah, so our pork coming along, not quite ready yet.
I'm just tapping. What are you feeling for?
So when I'm pushing it, there's the old rule of thumb. You can kind of medium rare, medium well. So when you push on your thumb here, you can kind of see it smush in and kind of slowly come out.
Mhm.
What I do here, it'll smush in, come out a little bit quicker, and you can feel it getting firmer, and then it's real firm. It doesn't barely even pushes in.
Right.
So you're watching the release of the meat. So when I stick my finger on it, if it's rare, it'll leave the pocket in there and slowly come up. If you're well done, the pocket will go in and come instantly back up. So you're just kind of, it takes time and practice just to touch it. We've always said that, or we're always taught, this is our $1 million tool. We don't need thermometers. If you have a thermometer, we can use those too. It's more fun too and rewarding if you get it right and you touch it and you're not used to it yet. You're like, oh, perfect, spot on. The meat's nice and juicy. It's a nice medium rare. It's just a nice little bonus. So we have our eggs in there.
Mhm.
We're going to grab our orange juice. Yep, that's perfect. Doesn't matter if you want to go pulp in, pulp out. I went no pulp. We're 6 eggs like we went in there, we said?
Yep.
We're going to add about a cup of orange juice.
Some of orange juice left.
And then about a teaspoon of nutmeg.
Okay.
Add that in there. Cinnamon. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Oop, that's a big teaspoon. So I always just use the pocket. You'll see me cupping my hand. If you use tablespoons and teaspoons enough, you kind of have a rough idea of how deep they are and stuff like that. So I cut my hand, make a little pocket. This is probably a slightly heavier than a teaspoon. It won't be too bad, so I'm just going to stick to my hand.
Oh, what? You pour that out.
That's why I like savory cooking. We've gone over before. Baking, I'd have to measure every one of these ingredients out. Savory cooking, we're allowed a little leeway in it, kind of thing.
Right.
So we'll mix that all up. If you have white sugar, you can use white sugar. If you have brown sugar, you can use brown sugar.
What's the difference?
Caramelization. So this will have more caramel flavor to it than white sugar will. So I'm about a tablespoon and a half we're going to add in there.
Brown sugar, or you can do white sugar, as you said.
I use a lot of brown sugar just because I like that whipped kind of caramelly kind of taste, malty taste to it.
Yep. All blending together nicely there.
For some reason, it looks like chocolate. Wait, not
All right, the meat's coming out over here, so let's go see what's happening at the stove.
Just want to take a quick little look. Yeah, we are going to put these aside for now. Then I can come back. If you have the thin pork chops, we'll come back and we can all do this dish together.
Perfect.
I'm just going to let them chill over there.
Let it rest for a bit.
Yep, we'll let them rest a little bit here. That's all off. All right, so we have our egg batter all ready to go. Miss Emma and Miss Violet have mixed all up. We have our nutmeg in there, our cinnamon in there, our brown sugar or white sugar, our cup of orange juice, 6 eggs. That's pretty good there. How's everyone making out? You have some thumbs up, and any questions? If you want some questions, we can unmute. And
Yeah, does anybody have any
That's all right.
questions they'd like to ask?
yep, that's perfect. We'll just let that sit over here.
I got a
for
thumbs
now.
up from one person.
There you
Everybody's-
People will be busy catching up. from
Yeah, well, that's-
experience.
go. Yeah. So everyone, we're getting a lot of thumbs up. And
Yeah, no, they seem to be on track.
so everyone's potatoes are in the oven. We have them at 450 degrees. They're bubbling, getting all cooked and goodness in there. We have, if we have a thicker pork chop, we got them rolling. I've now taken my pork chops out of the pan. They're probably about a medium rare cooked. I'm going to cook our pork chops to about a medium well. I like a little bit of pink in it. It's safe. If you go raw, it's not. Or if you get, if children, pregnant women, we want to cook it well done. So that's where we're going to play a little degree in between. We have our pan here that has all of our good little bits and caramelized bits of pork in there. So we're going to, one more thing we make, and we'll get back to the pork.
Mhm.
So if everyone has some butter and their can of canned cherries.
Okay.
If Karen Payne was on here, she would go down to her freezer and grab the fancy cherries, and I forget the name of them, but they're delightfully good.
Morencia, I think,
Yeah.
aren't they? I think they're Morencia cherries. I could be wrong. She'd be very disappointed at me right now.
Oh yes, I'll be texting her after and letting her know, after all these years of the cherries she knows.
So you just preheat that.
Yeah, so I just get my pan warming up here. I have it at about medium heat.
Okay.
Pardon me? Oh yeah, yep.
So just heating the pan up to a medium while we get the rest of the French toast prepped. Perfect. Well, nice view from the.
There we go. So we're just getting it warmed up to a medium. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have our butter ready and our cherries ready. We're going to make the brown butter cherry sauce, the drizzle over top of the cream cheese stuffed banana bread French toast. So we are going to take, there's about 3 tablespoons there. Four, 5. We're gonna put about,
Just add the calories on.
yeah, it's a dessert. You can't cheat on a dessert. So we're just going to take about 6-7 tablespoons of butter. We're going to let that start melting. What we're going to do is make a brown butter. So our heat's at about medium. We don't want to burn the butter or else it'll taste bad. We want to brown it. So as you're browning the melt solids. Like give it a little nutty flavor, change the whole consistency of the flavor of butter. So we're just
How do you know when it's gone past?
well, we're gonna witness that right here.
Okay. Because I'm a terrible baker.
Yeah.
I I would wreck this section.
Yeah, so we want to go medium heat. We're going to give a little bit of whisk just to help break down the butter a little bit quicker. Our butter's all this will happen rather quickly. So we're going to keep stirring it. That way we can distribute the butter around. So if you have a slight angle on your pan, it might come all down to one side. And as we cook it, we can already start to see the color start to change. We're getting a little deeper yellow. We're just going to slow go down in between medium and low. We're working on gas, so we're a little bit hotter. You want that bubbling to come up. We've stirred it a few times.
Really knows it.
Oh, yeah.
I've been gone for like 5 seconds. Okay.
We're getting a slight tannish, very slight tannish color to it right now. We're still have our bubbles going. We're evaporating any moisture in it. We're browning the milk solids, just make it a little bit nuttier. These are our bubbles. So we're losing our bubbles a bit. I'm going to come up just a bit medium heat there.
But why are we losing our bubbles?
Well, we're
Cooling down.
We're evaporating it. We're cooling it down. We just want a little bit warmer. Here we go. Now our moisture level is starting to come down. We're getting a foam. The foam is going to be the first little step we noticed on our brown butter coming through. So we're just going to let it sit there. And kind of just play around with it just to make sure.
So what happens if you don't have a cast iron pan?
Every frying pan will work. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But
cast
do
iron.
you find with this frying pan over here, the rock, can
Yeah.
you use your metal whisk in that, not harm the
I'm
surface?
unfamiliar. This is one of yours. I think so because I've used the metal whisk quite a few times. Yeah.
Okay. But a non-stick Teflon pan. no.
Non-stick, definitely not. Oh, yeah. So here we are. So
Okay, I see it now. Yeah.
now as we whisk, we can kind of see that brownness coming through. We're going to take our heat down a little bit. No, we're not going to be able to see it that well. I guess you can kind of see.
Yeah,
So you can see the milk solids in the bottom. I knocked my heat down a little bit because we don't want to go too quick now. This stage will happen very, very quickly. So I'm happy with this consistency, or color, I mean. So you can see the milk solids all in the bottom there. Now we're going to add our cherry filling.
This is when I would burn it.
Oh no, so our heat's still low. We're gonna add the whole can. So our heat is just shy of medium heat. Just going to drop it down a little bit more even. And we're just going to whisk the butter into the pie filling now. Be very gentle because that butter is extremely hot. We just want to make sure well incorporated in.
Now, could you use any kind of pie filling? Did you already mention this or no?
Yeah, any kind. Yep. Yeah, no, I didn't mention it. Yep, you can use any kind. Apple, cherry, blueberry,
Raspberry.
raspberry. Yep.
But
Yeah, strawberries. Yep.
peach.
Peach
The
would be
list goes on.
summertime peaches. Like so, in season, I'd obviously use fresh fruits, and I would just cook them down a little bit of water, a little bit of sugar, make your own filling. And in season, like an in-season fruit, you barely even have to add any water to because the juices will extract. It'll be a lot fresher. I'm going to
You
just,
forgot so much.
okay, you can throw that in. Or eat it.
Toss it in.
I'm just going to add a little bit of water. I just want the consistency to be a little thinner.
Missing a salad.
And we're going to turn our heat off now.
I love chili.
I love cherries. Makes the best cherry pie. Well, clearly,
You don't bake pie.
yeah. Who makes the best pies? Yeah.
All right. So there we go. We have a nice little consistency. It's still got a nice thickness to it, but not too thin, so it's just going to run off of everything. So we've shut our heat off. We'll just slide that off the side. Yeah. So how's everyone doing? Do we have our cherry filling, our brown butter cherry filling? Did anyone burn the butter? No, that's a bad thing. Just curious.
No, I think we're good. Everybody looks like,
Thumbs
yep,
up?
yep.
Okay.
Moving along.
So how's everyone's potatoes looking? We've been 35 minutes. Ours are getting nicely brown on the top.
Ooh.
Oh, that's color's flavor. So that's all cooking in there. We're going to start the pork chop. So does everyone have their pork chops out who have not cooked them earlier? I mean, actually just throw these in just to
Yep.
finish them off a little bit. So if everyone can grab their pork chops, we'll go back to the cutting board. We'll season them with our salt and pepper, how I showed earlier. Do a little bit less. It's just how I have always been trained. Heavy salt, heavy pepper. We'll bring our pan over to the stove. We'll get it on high heat and wait till it's smoking point. If you're using a thinner non-stick pan, it won't take as long. So we'll give it a couple minutes on your high heat right now. Bring it up to a smoke temp. And then we'll add our olive oil and then your pork chop to the pan and just slightly moving it around to make sure it's nicely coated in the olive oil. Once everyone gives us the thumbs up on that, we'll carry on to the glaze.
Perfect. All right, folks, we'll give you a few minutes to kind of get those pork chops going.
Sean, my pork chops were thin. And so when I did the first round of seasoning in the pan, 2 of them really curled. Is there something you can do to
So if
prevent
they
that?
curl, before you put them into the pan, score the edges in about a ½ inch.
Okay.
And do basically every quarter of the pork chop, and it should help it settle down a little bit. Or you
Perfect.
can take your knife, and let's say this is my pork chop. We'll score this way all the way across it, about a ½ inch in, and that'll help it lay flat.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
So.
Yep, folks are doing good.
I just brought, we'll show them this. As I was saying earlier, we all like lots of vegetables. So I just picked up at the grocery store today some nice little mini Napa cabbage. I'm just literally just going to cut it down the center, throw it in a bowl, a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper.
How much salt do you use?
Just it's a good dash. Then we'll just toss it all around in there. I'm just going to roast it off with the pork that I put in. So I have a pan of pork in here. I'm just going to go cut side down, and it'll just be a little bit more veg to go with our main dish.
All right, are folks caught up on the meat? Yeah, I'm seeing nodding heads, some thumbs up. Good. Yep.
So we have our meat in our pan.
Yeah, I think we're good actually.
All right. So if everyone has a nice sear on one side, we're going to flip our pork chop over. We are going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter.
Mhm.
We'll just let that start melting down. Thin pork chops, you can pull them out of your pan right now, just set them aside to rest. We'll make the glaze and we'll glaze them at the end. So depending on the thickness of your pork chop, if they're a little thin one, then if you've seared to one side, we'll pull it off, put it to a side, let that rest, and then add your butter back to the pan. And we'll start stirring around. What we're going to do is use the butter to deglaze our pan and pull up all those little bits that we just kind of crunched and seared off on it.
Yep.
We're going to take about a half cup of pineapple juice.
Right. Where the flavors of Hawaiian pizza come from, pork and pineapple, right?
Yeah. And then about quarter to half cup of stock, chicken stock, I mean. So we're going to wait for that to come up to a boil. We'll just let it reduce just a little bit.
You see it bubbling away here on the stove.
Perfect. We're going to go back to our brown sugar. We're going to add, what did I tell everyone? Yeah, 2 teaspoons, basically everything. So we're going to add our brown sugar now. So we have our pineapple juice, we have our chicken stock, we have our brown sugar.
Couple tablespoons, you said.
2 tablespoons. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce.
And again, feel free to measure.
2. Yep. Measuring is good. If you want to be precise, but it all flavor. If you want, if you like pineapple juice, or like if you love pineapple, which I think all of us do, you can add more of it. You'll just have to reduce it down longer. Chicken stock, the more liquid we have, we just have to melt it down. If you add more pineapple juice, you have to add more brown sugar because we want that glaze, that sticky goodness to coat the pork chop and everything.
Right.
So we have it rolling pretty good right now. I'm just going to give it a nice little stir around. We're still on high heat, letting it bubble away.
Even the best chefs have to refer to them recipe once in a
Well,
while.
I'm just trying to, normally I just eye everything up. I'm just trying to keep track of what I told everyone else. Yeah, it's not much of a measure. We've always, like I mentioned before, it's a guideline.
Right.
It's a guideline to cooking kind of thing. There's savory cooking. There's no set. You eat this, this, this. Every vegetable has in-season flavor. Is different from out of season.
Baking's more challenging.
Baking is 100% measuring.
Yeah.
If you want, you can use your caps too. So
yeah.
This cell cap, the size of it is about a tablespoon. So I'm putting about a tablespoon of vinegar in there. What we're doing is layering our flavors right now. So we have our sweet, which is our pineapple juice, our brown sugar. We have our fat, which is our butter. We have our vinegar, which is now our acid. It's going to cut the fattiness and the sweetness. We have our soy sauce, which is salty. So we're hitting every avenue of the taste buds. Your sweet, salty, all that goodness.
Lovely.
We're going to just keep letting that evaporate down.
Okay.
How's everyone making out? Are we we're all thumbs up? Any questions? Any concerns? Any negative? Okay.
Quiet bunch today.
Forward.
Yeah.
Everybody's becoming more experienced if they do more.
Yeah, because the first time there was a lot of questioning going on. Well, I normally talk too quick, yes. You can kind of see it getting a little bit thicker. So we're coating the spoon, but we want to coat it a little bit more. We're going to evaporate some of that moisture out. Because if it coats the spoon nicely, it'll coat the pork chop nicely. And as You can see we have aggressive amounts of bubbles right now. As it decreases, we'll lose our bubbles. So all that bubbles is moisture coming out right now. So as we cook it down, we'll lose some of the bubbles. If you want, you can take a little sip, just a little taster. I haven't added any salt or pepper to it yet. The soy sauce does have a saltiness. I am going to add just a little bit of pepper. And as we seared our pork off, I was saying before, some of your salt falls off your pork or off your meat, whatever you're searing, and pepper falls off. So that's actually in the deglazing of the pan. So that's where we always season near the end, just to make sure we don't want to over salt things.
Right.
We're getting a nice texture now. We're getting there. So what I'm going to do, we're still on high heat.
All right, so the pork chops are headed in the pan.
So we're going to, we're getting thicker. As you can see, the bubbles are lessening. So I'm going to drop it down to medium heat. We're just going to spoon the glaze over top. Oh yeah. So this is an old French technique called Napa, where you spoon the sauce over top. And as Carla just mentioned, when I do my steaks, I do them in cast iron. I will sear them on each side. Add a clove of garlic, some rosemary, some thyme. Then I will spoon that brown butter over top of the steak, and it just elevates a little bit further.
Yeah, I can see the thickness of the sauce now.
It's getting darker now.
Sticking more to the meat there, kind of like a little coating.
Yeah, it's getting that nice glaze. So we want to keep dropping our heat down though, because our pork chops are basically cooked. We don't want to reduce our sauce to the point that we burn it. We're just going to, our sauce is actually probably right where I want it. So I'm turning my heat off now. We're probably at about half of the liquid we had in there. So now I'm dropping it down. You can see it's nicely giving a shiny glaze. The pan is going to hold heat, so your sauce will actually keep thickening after. So I've done it a few times that way. We're going to just, we want all sides to be good and glazed, so we're just going to flip it over again. I'm just tilting my pan just to make it a little bit easier. So you just tilt it back just so it all cools down at the end.
And spoon it on. Nice.
And you can also do this recipe on the barbecue. So if you wanted to barbecue your pork chops, you would barbecue everything, like your pork chops off, obviously on the barbecue and that. And you can make this sauce in the pan inside. And the last 5 minutes of your barbecuing of your meat, you'll take your sauce out and then you'll glaze it over top of it. You'll get nice little sticky, gooey glaze to it, which is a nice little bonus. That way you can take advantage of summer seasons and barbecue season. I think we're pretty good there. I'm going to leave them right in the pan. I want to make sure we still taste good there. So I'm going to leave them right in the pan. It's off the heat. I'm going to leave it in there. Yeah, we're at about a medium well. I'm going to let them rest in the pan, pull some more heat through them, bring them up to about a medium well. Excuse me, we'll slice them open and they'll be good to go.
Do you ever cover them with foil?
You can, if you're doing larger hunks of meat, I cover it in foil. Smaller pieces, I wouldn't. Larger ones, you'll have to rest for, if you're doing a whole prime rib, you want to rest for an hour kind of thing.
Sure.
Smaller pieces, they take less time.
Okay. So just to catch everybody up, we've got our pork chops here on the stove. We've got the cherry sauce for our French toast. We've got our potatoes still chugging away in the oven here. So
well, actually, our potatoes
we're getting pretty. Yeah, I was gonna say they're looking pretty darn good.
So that's how I say in the Parmesan gives you a little crust on the top, so you can actually, you can hold it in that. We have bubbles coming up. I kind of like where we're at. We'll put that back in.
Mhm.
I'm going to pull it out and just let it kind of rest and cool down slightly. So like any casserole, ooh, this one's quite soupy.
Mhm.
Like any casserole or lasagna or casserole cooked dish, lasagnas and that, you want them to cool down because right now it's piping hot. Once we let it cool down just slightly, it'll actually help it thicken back up a little bit. Yeah, but we will be. Yeah, so these are quite soupy, which is a personal
Saucy.
favorite of mine. So we'll scoop all the goodness out. We'll get a little bit of that crusty cheese on. We'll spoon some of the sauce over top of it. We'll make a little pool of sauce in there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have our pork resting. We have our potatoes resting. We have just a little side cabbage to go with it. Cherry sauce is ready to go. We can. How's everyone making out?
They're good.
I guess we might as well do the French toast, then I can sit. We can plate the
Yeah.
main, plate the dessert.
Yep. Good idea.
All right.
Let's do it. I'll do it.
This whole.
You do it too?
Okay. So next up, we're just going to do our French toast. Oh shoot! Yeah.
Mhm.
Forget about the camera. So we're going to get our French toast rolling here. So I'm just turning the pan, preheating it, medium heat right now, medium high. We'll get our pan going. We have our banana bread that we had cooked off already.
Looks good.
We're going to cut it into, we'll go about inch thick pieces. You can do all different ways. We can cut it into cubes. I kind of like this nice. I like to go a little bit thicker on
Nice chunky slices, it looks
Yeah.
like to me.
I like to go thicker on the cut because then we'll get a nice crust on the outside and then it'll still be that soft banana bread goodness on the inside.
Cool.
So I believe the girls have re-whisked our orange juice mixture.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna check it.
Just to make sure it's all.
Yep. So they were correct on that. We want to re-whisk it before we use it, just to make sure all of our ingredients are incorporated in there. We are going to take our banana bread. Put one in. Yeah, so we'll do 4 pieces in there. So our pan's medium-high heat. That's all we're just gonna put 4 in there right now.
Looks so good.
We're gonna take a little bit of butter. Once again, I do use a lot of butter. A lot of it doesn't stay in the meal. So a little bit of, put less than a tablespoon, a little bit of oil.
Oh, I've never put olive oil on my French toast.
Oh no,
No.
I use olive oil just to cut it with the butter because then your butter doesn't burn. So you can still get a higher heat. So you get a crust on it.
Great tip.
Yeah. If you just go straight butter, you could have a tendency to burn it. So it just kind of cuts it a little bit. So we have our banana bread in there. We're going to gently, because banana bread is very soft and fragile. Hey.
Guys.
So we're going to flip it over. It is very, very fragile, banana bread being soft and gooey and good. So I'm just flipping over it a few times. You want it to soak in. It's been in there maybe a minute. If you have a drier bread, you want to obviously go a little bit longer, let it soak in.
Why do you do that?
And right into our pan.
Look at that nice sizzle.
Yeah, so we still want to keep on a somewhat high heat. They want that sizzle always. We're still medium, just a little bit above. We can give a little slide around. What we want to do is just get that egg to cook on there, give it a nice crust on there. Might go a little bit, or you can hear our sound of sizzle going down. So we're going to bring it up just a little bit more. We'll just take a little peek. I like using my tongs. You can use a spatula.
Can you flip it over this way for us?
So we're not quite there yet. Still soft. We want to get a little bit more crust going on it.
Okay.
So we're going to elevate our heat just a little bit more. So now we're touching high.
We're still on the first side here. We took one little flip, but it wasn't quite crusty enough. So
We're keeping it like a piece of meat. We want to sear each side so you have that nice crust and cooked egg on the outside. Going to flip my pork chops over. Our potatoes are cooling down. You can see they're still a little soft in there and gooey and goodness. Let's take one pork chop over the cutting board. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm gonna get pork chop all over.
if you're the thin ones, you don't need to do this, or
Thin ones, no, just keep them right next to the pan. They'll keep warm.
okay.
Well, you see, we have nice brown. The glaze has kind of gone over it nicely. You might just, as this glaze cools down, it'll get even stickier. So we're going to give it just a little extra goodness on there. Make sure it comes down all the sides.
Nice. Pretty delectable.
Smells good.
Okay, let's see, we got some smoke coming here, so I think we're gonna be good to go. Oh yeah. We have just a slight little bit of
Oh, yum.
black, which is good.
Yeah.
You don't want much more than that. You just want it so it's kind of marbled looking. Our pan has brought back up the heat now where we wanted it. So we're going to drop it back down to the medium.
Okay.
Just gonna coat all that goodness.
That smells good.
Oh, what was it in there? The button's pushed in, but. Perfect. So we're actually, our pan came up quite hot. I bet you if we flip it over, we already have some caramelization going.
Yep.
So I'm going to turn the pan right off. And we're just going to let that sit there with the pan off, and it'll kind of finish cooking.
Okay.
So, where's everyone at? Are we doing pretty good?
Yep.
We can plate up some
Yeah.
food here.
Yep.
Perfect. Just gonna squeeze behind you here. So this was just some simple Napa cabbage that I cooked off. A little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. It's just slightly 75% cooked through. The rest is a little bit raw, so you have a little texture to it.
We've got our meat. Got our Napa cabbage here. Our potatoes are hanging out over here. Things are coming together, folks.
Okay.
Ooh, it looks good.
Okay. How's everyone making out? Are we ready to plate? Try some food? The best part of the night. So we're just going to crunch into our crust here.
Oh, very watery.
Creamy.
Watery.
That's right. Saucy.
So this is what we want.
Salt, potatoes in that.
We're just going to put a little bit of dollop on there.
Look at that crusty finish.
Can I have a first try?
Then we'll take a little bit of our cabbage on there. We have a nice little pool of our sauce in there. That's why I like it liquidy. Yeah, it's a nice sauce. You can dip your meat in it, your vegetables in it, all that goodness. Excuse me.
So if you have those thicker chops, then you're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it down the center just so we can showcase our temp. So there we have a nice juicy, it's about a medium well to just slightly above medium well. It looks pink, but it's actually just the juices. So you want to just put that right on top like that. Let's keep one for right now. Going to just nestle. A little bit of micro arugula on there.
Beautiful.
Fell down.
There we are.
All right.
So I was saying you can see some of the red coming up. It looks like it's blood. It's actually just the juices. Same thing with chicken. If you cook chicken to the right temperature, it actually is cooked. It just looks like it looks a little bit rare.
A good chef always takes a photo.
I'm an older chef, so I got to remember things now. So yeah, so this is my pineapple glaze. You can also, if you want, we can take it one more step.
That smells really good.
1 second, we can try here. 1 second.
Who's gonna be our tester? Got a couple of young ladies might want to try some.
So 1 second.
Ooh, yum, yum, yum.
We're just taking a little bit of our glaze.
Beautiful.
Looks so good. I'm gonna hug you for so long.
All right.
Awesome. All right, well,
That's awesome, guys. Wow, that looks just amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Look forward to this picture. They're close.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's lovely.
all right, we still got the dessert to come
Yeah,
too.
so
This is
we'll
just
plate-
main course.
plate dessert now.
Awesome. All
So
right.
the dessert.
Ooh, yum dessert.
We're going to take
Well,
one piece of French toast.
we've got a piece of our French or banana bread French toast there on the middle of the plate. You remember we put that nice cream cheese mixture back into the fridge, so it's just come back out.
Yep, so it's nicely firm back up again. But technically, it's not really stuffed. It's more of a sandwich style, I guess you'd say.
Ooh, look at
We're
that.
gonna put a big dollop on there. Then another little piece up there. Give our sauce a quick little stir.
Looks
There's that cherry sauce.
Our cherry sauce is been in a pan, so it's still got a little warmth to it.
Yeah, you can never have too much sauce
There
as
we
far
go,
as I'm
yeah.
concerned.
There we go.
All
Now,
right.
if you want, you can add whipped cream to the top. You can add icing sugar to the top, like a little dusting of icing sugar, a little bit of mint. You can put some crushed nuts on top. Once again, it's a base to a dish. You can add a lot of things too. If you like nuts, add them to it. Crush them all up nicely. Little chopped mint on top. Yeah, it's good with multiple new options.
All right, chef, let's hold up these two plates
Okay.
together. I want to see. Wow, look at this. Looks awesome. I bet these young ladies are excited to dive into here.
Best part now, we get to try it.
All right, let's see. We want to see this response here of this.
Go for it. But
Oh, yeah.
we try to
There's
cook.
steak knives there if you want a sharper
I
knife.
just
You might not need it, but
All right, you going over too, Violet? Gentle, that is the knife. Work. Good.
Take a
Try
little
with the
slice
dessert
off
first.
there.
Smell nice.
Does it say them yet?
Yeah.
All right, we're just gonna see the first bite and then we're maybe we can get some help with there.
I'm cutting
I
it.
have my pork chops up there,
Yes.
Sean.
Oh, my bad. That was mine. Number one rule, always take the string off your meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cut
Cut
that
I
little
cut
small.
that again.
Yeah.
Oh, but that looks strange.
Mhm.
Dinosaur bite.
There we go.
All right. Wait, well, let's get here. Violet, you grab the other piece here, or grab a chunk of it, and let's see. You both take a bite together. Yeah. Let's see.
That's good.
That's good.
Is it good? You
Lots of
try some of the
nods and
potatoes there? You
smiles.
Scoop some of the potatoes up in there.
Awesome. Oh, look at that face. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been an awesome night. Another delicious meal ahead of us here. So on behalf of the Community Connections team and everybody at Westminster United Church, thank you to Chef Sean, to Annalise, to our wonderful little sous chefs here. And they're going to be busy now for the next little while, enjoying this fabulous meal. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I hope your meal tastes just as delicious as ours.
Thanks,
Sean,
everyone.
there's my potatoes, and there's the pork chops.
Oh, let's see.
Let's see. Oh,
Looking awesome.
they look great. I like the color. Beautiful color.
Thank you.
Looks good,
Thanks
Heather.
for the help.
Hey,
work.
anytime. I love doing this.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.